So today I'm going to talk to you about the top 10 retirement questions that people are asking right now today. The first question that they ask is, how much money do I need to retire comfortably? Now, it's funny because one man's floor is another man's ceiling. So how much money you need and how much money someone else needs is really, it's very hard to explain. But at the end of the day, it boils down to this. You want to live the lifestyle you've become accustomed to, adjusted for taxes and inflation, out beyond yours and your spouse's life expectancy, and then pass your money on in the most tax-favored way possible. So how much money you're going to need is totally based on where you are and where you are today and where you're going to be tomorrow and what are your overall goals. So it's important to sit down and make a plan. You see, people don't plan to fail, they fail to plan. The number two question is, when should I start saving for retirement? Well, the answer is at birth. The day you were born would be a really great day to start saving for retirement. But if you're not fortunate enough to have parents putting some money away for you while you're in your younger years, then as soon as you get your first job, you should be saving between 10 and 20% of what you make out to some type of a savings account. Now, it's important to understand there are three ways to grow your money: tax as you go, tax deferred, and tax free. And if you believe, as we believe, that taxes will be higher in the future, then the only way to grow your money is to grow your money in a tax-free environment. And there are only a couple of choices with regards to that. But be sure to pay yourself first. Before you pay anything, take 10 to 20% and put it away. And as your paycheck goes up, continue to take 10 to 20% of whatever it is that you pay, and you'll do very well with regards to retirement. It's a long-term plan. It's not a short-term one. So what is the difference between a 401k and an IRA? Well, an IRA is an individual retirement account, and it's designed for retirement. So is a 401k, but a 401k is what's called an ERISA plan. So ERISA means that it's put on by employers. So you can contribute and the employer can contribute for you. The biggest difference between an ERISA plan and an individual retirement account is the amount of money that you can actually contribute to it. If you're over the age of 50 today, you can put in $30,500 into a 401k, where you can only put $8,000 into an IRA. Now, it's probably pretty important that you take some time to find out, does your company offer a 401k Roth IRA? And is it possible for you to contribute to a Roth IRA as opposed to an IRA? And there are also some other ways that you might want to consider if you're not maximizing these plans. So how does Social Security benefits work, and when should I start collecting them? Well, folks, this is a pretty complicated question. The best way to answer this question would be to set up a time where you get your Social Security statement and your spouse's Social Security statement, and we run you into a special software to tell you when the best time is to take it. Now, some few rules that you need to understand. First off, unless you are a widower or a widow, you cannot take Social Security prior to 62 years old. If you're a widower or widow, you can take Social Security at age 60. However, there's some special rules you need to understand, and there's some earnings tests. So if you're taking Social Security before what's called your FRA, which is your full retirement age, then what happens at that point, if you're taking Social Security prior to that age, you're going to have a problem if you're working. If you make too much money, they're going to phase you out, and there's a 2-to-1 chargeback. Now, we have a course just on this subject, but it's important to understand that this is, once again, there's not a 50-cent answer to this question. We really need to sit down and take a look at 100,000 foot of your overall situation to determine what is the best way for you to do it. Because remember, one man's floor is another man's ceiling. However, it's highly likely that if you're married, one spouse will take it at a much earlier age, such as 62 or 67, where the other spouse will wait till age 70, because when the other spouse dies, the spouse with the highest Social Security will take that Social Security. Whoever the survivor is will get the highest of the two Social Securities. Now, question number 5 is what types of investments should I include in my retirement portfolio? Wow, this is a tough one. And the reason why it's tough is because everybody's got their own position in life and where they're at. Now, I personally believe that real estate is a fantastic investment and that everybody should own some. Well, that doesn't mean that everybody should own some. Yeah, but for sure, if you can, you want to own your own home or at least be buying your own home. And if you can, own some rental properties. Now, in addition to that, you have stocks, bonds, mutual funds, gold, silver, cryptocurrency, life insurance, annuities, and the list keeps going and going and going. But what I would tell you about this is that there are lots of choices out there, and this is why sitting down with someone like myself to help you start to figure out what is the best way for you to diversify your portfolio, which, by the way, is not all stocks, bonds, mutual funds, or in other words, high, low, and medium risk securities. There are better ways to do that. But the choice is really up to you, and you really want to consider how much risk do you want to take throughout your life, and are you going to grow your money tax as you go, tax deferred or tax free? Do you want to be able to access it any time that you want? There's a lot of things that go into trying to decide which one you're going to do. But I will give you this one piece of caution. Be very careful of alternative investments. There are a lot of alternative investments that are out there. There's life settlements, and they come up with all kinds of stuff. And if that stuff is not backed by an insurance company, a banking institution, something like that, I would be very careful. I personally have been burned quite a few times in the past, and I've had clients get burned with alternative investments, so I would try to avoid those if I were you. How do I create a withdrawal strategy for my retirement savings? Well, folks, there's nothing more important than this question right here. You see, in order to retire, you must have one thing, and that one thing is a paycheck. And your paycheck's going to come from your known incomes, which is Social Security, pension if you're lucky enough to have one, possibly some rental properties. And then up here at the top, you're going to have a need. And in between your known incomes and the need, you're going to have a gap. And that gap is going to have to be filled by all of these other assets that you manage to put away over time, whether it be stocks, bonds, mutual funds, cryptocurrency, 401ks, 403bs, 457s, whatever the case may be. You're going to need to create a withdrawal strategy. See, you're over here in this world accumulating money, but you're going to step into my world, which is preservation and distribution, and that game is played very, very differently. So we're going to want to make sure that we create a strategy to give us that lifestyle we've become accustomed to, adjusted for taxes and inflation, out beyond yours and your spouse's life expectancy, and then pass your money on in the most tax-favorable way possible. There are a lot of ways to do this. We could use the 4% rule. We could use annuities. We could use life insurance. We could use rental properties. There's lots of things that we could do. But sitting down and, once again, creating a plan is the most important step. What are required minimum distributions, or RMDs, and when do I need to start taking them? Well, this comes as a big surprise to most people because, you see, when you're putting money away in IRAs, 401ks, 403bs, 457s, any one of these ERISA plans or individual retirement accounts, and it's not a Roth, it's going to have something called an RMD, a required minimum distribution. And now, with the new Secure Act, those required minimum distributions start at 72, 73, or 74, depending upon your age. And if you don't take those required minimum distributions, there is a 25% penalty for not taking them. So you will be taking them. The mistake that people make is that they wait to take them when they have to take them, rather than possibly using some of that money when they first retire back at 58, 59, 60, 61, whatever the case may be, and they frequently mess up in this area. So you might want to seriously consider whether or not you want to wait to take your RMDs, because that will probably push you into a higher tax bracket. How will taxes impact my retirement account? Well, taxes happen to be my favorite subject in the world. As a matter of fact, do you know the highest income taxes have ever been since the inception of the temporary income tax and the establishment of the IRS in 1913? The actual number is 94%. The average has been over 56%. Currently, we're sitting at 37%. We have a national debt of about $36 trillion and an unfunded deficit of $211 trillion. We're about 250 upside down. That's $250 trillion upside down with a $4.2 trillion budget, and we spent a couple $1 trillion more than we actually brought in. So folks, the thing you want to understand about taxes in a retirement is that there's a very good chance that no matter what age you're at right now, the taxes will be higher in the future. And this is a very good reason for not deferring taxes out to the future. So if you want to control the impact of taxes on your retirement, you need to be getting your money over to tax-free as fast as you possibly can. Now, how can I plan for healthcare costs in retirement? Well, this has a lot to do with the age that you retire at. See, if you're retiring prior to Medicare, which is age 65, then you may have to go on a COBRA plan. You may have to buy private insurance. You may have to do something along those lines. So your retirement age is important when you're determining what that's going to be. Now, another thing to keep in mind is that the cost of Medicare is going to be a little bit higher because it's going to look, depending upon what your income is, prior to taking Medicare, because they do what's called the 2-year look back. So if you're going to be doing Roth conversions or anything along those lines, you might want to be considering doing those at an earlier age so that cost isn't inside of there. What should I do if I'm behind on my retirement savings? Well, the answer is pray, because it's very hard to get caught up on retirement savings. One of the best ways to get caught up on retirement savings is finding the money that you're transferring unknowingly and unnecessarily out of your life. Now, we do this in several different ways, and just a couple examples is how we make major capital purchases, mortgages on our house, qualified plans, taxes. There's generally, most everybody I meet is transferring some type of money out of their life unknowingly and unnecessarily. And if you'll just take the time to find that money and reroute it, you can get some substantial money put away. The other thing to be considering is, once again, is start getting rid of that tax bomb inside of there so that doesn't hurt you going forward. And you might want to be considering, there's really never any unrealistic goals. There's just unrealistic time frames. So if you're behind on your retirement savings, it might be that you want to push your retirement age out to a later age. After all, we're living longer. And so the common retirement age is 65 years old. But why would you quit doing what you're doing if you love what you're doing? So you might want to extend that a little further out and then get a little bit more aggressive about how you put your money away. But remember that you want to live the lifestyle you become accustomed to, adjusted for taxes and inflation out beyond yours and your spouse's life expectancy. However, you also want to remember to live like you're going to die today and plan like you're going to live like you're going to die tomorrow and plan like you're going to live forever, rather. Now, I don't know exactly how to answer all of these questions for you, because without knowing who you are and knowing where you are, I could never give you a good answer. And there are no 50-cent answers to all of these questions. There are a lot more courses out on our website that you should go check out if you want to learn more about how to put this money away and where to put it away. Go check out those courses. Subscribe to our YouTube channel below. And once again, remember to live like you're going to die tomorrow and plan like you're going to live forever, because you just might. I look forward to seeing you very soon. Keep smiling. And by the way, the shirt, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.